Hey guys, and welcome to the new video series from the New Warehouse. I'm Kevin Lawton, host and founder of the New Warehouse. You may be familiar with the podcast, The New Warehouse. I'm saying the New Warehouse a lot here, but we are excited. I am excited to unveil our new video series for 2023 called the New Warehouse All Hands, and we are hoping to make this our weekly all hands meeting with you guys, where we cover all things that are happening in the warehousing industry and bring some great technology and insights from the warehousing industry to you. So we'll be following sort of a program here where we'll have a little intro from myself, what's going on in the warehousing industry during the week. And then we'll be hearing a little warehouse safety tip from one of the friends of the podcast. It could be you, actually. And then we'll have a little segment where we'll talk to people, we'll see some demos, see some new technology that's happening within the industry, bring you some insider information and give you some insider views of what's happening at certain trade shows for the industry, all those different types of things. So this week, this is our first episode ever. So let's see how it goes, and definitely welcoming your feedback. Want to hear, what do you want to hear or see on this video series that we're doing here. So we're gonna jump to our first portion of the video series, which is gonna be a warehouse safety tip. And this warehouse safety tip is gonna come from longtime friend of the podcast, Chuck Coxhead, and he is with Turnkey Technologies. So let's throw it over to Chuck and hear that safety tip for this week.
Hey folks, this is Chuck Coxhead from Turnkey Technologies. We're a full-service Microsoft Dynamics ERP and customer experience partner. I want to share a little something with my manufacturing operations friends today. It's about safety. One of the things that was popularized through Lean Thinking program and has made its way all around the world in manufacturing operations is the 5S program. The 5S stands for sort, set in order, shine, standardize, and sustain. There's a glaring omission. It's safety. Safety is that important. It needs to be emphasized on a daily basis by every single person in the organization. It needs to make its way into your end-of-day checks. It needs to make its way into your weekly audits. It needs to make its way into your monthly activities related to your 5S program. Take your 5S program and make it a 6S program. 5S plus safety.
All right, great safety tip from Chuck, giving us that 6S. I love it, adding that additional S on there on the already great 5S, and bringing more awareness to safety in the warehousing industry, which we always want to do here at the New Warehouse. So thank you to Chuck once again. And if you want to share your warehouse safety tip, feel free to reach out, let us know. It's easy, it takes 15 minutes, maybe less, to record your warehouse safety tip and get featured here on the show. And we'd be happy to bring your warehouse safety tip to the warehousing industry and bring greater safety awareness around that. So we have some other great ones coming up in the weeks to follow, but we definitely need more to fill out the year. So make sure you sign up. There's a link in the show notes and in the comments. So be sure to sign up for a time with me and we'll get you recorded here on the New Warehouse. Now into our main segment of this week, which is involving the upcoming trade show Manifest, which is going to be in its second year, and I'm going to be talking to Courtney Muller. She is the president of Manifest, and Manifest is bringing the future of technology in the logistics space into Las Vegas. So if you have not registered for that show yet, you can get a discount at our special link for New Warehouse audience only. In the comments in the show notes, be sure to register, sign up. It is happening at the end of this month, starting January 31st. For 3 days in Vegas, and it's going to be a blast. We will be on site. I will be there. We'll be covering the show, getting some great content for you guys to see, and also having some great conversations with some leaders in our space. So very excited for the conversation with Courtney. Be sure to check it out and make sure that you are in attendance at Manifest. Let me know if you're going to be there. I want to see you. So Courtney, welcome to the show, first of all, and how are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. And thank you for having me on the show. I'm very honored to be here, actually. And I'm really glad to hear, Kevin, that you had FOMO. I mean, that's the best possible thing I could hear from someone about the show. So hopefully it means you'll definitely show up this year, and I think you will.
Yeah, absolutely. I would definitely be there this year. I mean, last year was, we were just coming out of, pandemic stuff, and things were starting to
Oh,
be back
you
in
know what? It
person.
was the
And
middle of the Omicron wave. It was terrible.
yeah, yeah. But I saw everybody posting about Manifest, 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 and I'm like,
Yeah.
Manifest, what is this? And I started seeing everything that was going on there, and I'm like, oh man, like I, I should have been there. Like I
I
wish
missed
I
it.
was there. Yeah.
We wish you were there
So
too.
Oh, thank you. So it was good to it's good to be a part of it this year. And now, we're talking about Manifest here. So maybe, this is the second year that Manifest is happening ever, right? So for people that maybe have not heard of it yet, or are wondering what Manifest is, why don't you kind of tell us what Manifest is in your words, and what the event's all about?
I sure will. Thank you so much. So, Manifest is a global gathering of logistics innovators and professionals. We're really talking about how technology is evolving and disrupting and changing the supply chain and how goods are moved around the world. We have really three legs to our stool. We invite startups, we invite investors, and then we invite industry incumbents. And obviously, the industry incumbent category is quite large. It's anyone who ships a product or a good. It's also all the logistics service providers, 3PLs, carriers, brokers. A port would be included in that, an airport, a railroad. Really, anyone who's involved in the supply chain would be invited to Manifest.
All right, interesting. So basically, if you're touching the supply chain in any way, Manifest would be a good place for you to go, you would say.
It could potentially be a good place for you, especially if you're interested in the innovation and how technology is really enhancing the way companies are operating and creating efficiencies and more profitability and more visibility and all the things that customers are looking for these days. Amazon really set the stage for all of this, I would say, many, many years ago when they started providing such this amazing service. And now everyone feels, well, if I can't get something in 2 days or one day, what good is it? So we need a lot of technological advancements to keep that going. And more goods are being shipped every year. So Manifest is a great place to come to find out about the innovation and the new technologies and how to incorporate them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you have an amazing point there. I mean, getting to those types of service levels, and being able to keep the world going around with the supply chain, we certainly need to be looking at what's the next thing to come in technology, and how to help us get there. And, certainly at the new warehouse, that's something we're always trying to showcase. So we're happy to be able
Exactly.
to go to Manifest and help to showcase that as well. And it'd be really interesting to see what's coming this year. So, with that being said, before we kind of get into some things to expect this year, why don't you tell us a little bit about last year, and maybe like what was one of the biggest highlight, if you can pick one, from the event last year?
So the event last year, it was our first year of the event. We had about 1,400 people attend the event.
Okay.
So it was a really good first showing.
Mhm.
We had 35 unicorns on our stage
Oh
last
wow,
year. So we were really proud of that. The event featured almost 100 conference sessions, and we had about 125 sponsors at the event.
nice.
We did have a wonderful closing party that featured Ludacris, and everyone
Nice.
had a great time once we finally got to that moment of the show. But I would say it was really the individuals who were there, of the 1,400 people. It was a very high level representation of the industry. And, it's when you get the very high levels, the CEOs, the founders, the investors, and all of the people who are running supply chains for big companies, it's when you get them together in one room that conversations really move forward
Mhm.
and that things can really start happening in an industry. So we really feel it's important to really curate our audience and in particular our speaker list, because they're the ones who are going to be standing up, and talking about all of the things that they're doing to improve their companies, and how they're operating. And I felt our content team did a great job of pulling that together, especially in our first year. And another thing that was pointed out to us was we were one of the first events that had a lineup of autonomous and electric vehicles at the back of our show floor.
Oh,
So visually, there was a lot to see. We had
mhm.
robots, we had drones. There's cool stuff going on in our industry right
Sure.
now. And to see it all in person and coming to life before your eyes is a really exciting thing. And obviously, I'm a huge fan of Vegas. I think people like going to Vegas. While I don't want people to be distracted from the experience that the show
Right.
is, and it is an all in experience, I think it helps to be in that city because people like going there. They can have great dinners. There's a lot of other activities that went on in addition to our activities because our sponsors and others were hosting dinners and having a great time. So that always helps with the experience as well. So as we look to this year, we're looking to more than double our audience probably.
Okay.
We will be featuring about 125 conference sessions. All in, we're looking to have around 500 startups represented at
Oh, wow.
Manifest in
Okay.
2023. That's going to be amazing. Yeah, very, very excited about that. The show floor will be expanded. We like to have fun at Manifest, and so we have a lot of things going on the show floor that just make people happy,
Mhm.
including food and beverage. We'll have a beer garden. We'll have a rosé all day activation.
Rosé all
We have a
day.
snack
Wow. Okay.
area. A rosé all day. I
Yeah.
mean, not everyone's into rosé, but a lot of people are.
Yeah.
And for those people who don't drink alcohol, we've got a mocktail lounge. And honestly, Kevin, one of the favorite things of every audience member from last year's show was our puppy lounge. And it will be back again in 23, bigger, better than ever. So, I love seeing grown men on the floor with puppies. It's like a really great thing.
Yeah.
Brings a smile to people's faces. So, in between all the networking and the thought leadership and all the work that people are doing there, we want to make sure people are having fun at every turn as well.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that's a great thing. I think you're thinking of it as such a comprehensive event, and I think that makes it so much more exciting and makes it great for the attendees as well. Especially having the mix of so many options for speakers and learning opportunities. To also have those visual components, like you mentioned as well. To get some breaks and look at some different things in between speakers and be able to not only hear about like what's going on in the industry, but also then like see it too in person is a great opportunity to do all those things in one place. And then obviously, if you're going to have some rose in between and play with a few puppies, I think that's just certainly an added benefit. So it sounds like it's going to be a great event, and certainly looking forward to it and seeing what it's all about in person this year, myself as well. And I may partake in a little rosé. I'm not necessarily typically a
I think
rosé
you should. I
guy,
think you
but
should partake in a little rosé and then go interview some people on the show floor. It'd be awesome.
yeah, yeah, we'll see what happens. What? Well, I guess if I'm interviewing people, it's not what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, right? It'll be recorded, so just be cautious of that if you're gonna get interviewed by me. But so we talked a little bit about some of the things to look forward to, and what's happening at the event. Why don't you tell us a little bit about some of maybe the big speaking engagements that'll be there, big speakers maybe to look forward, and some of the bigger or overarching topics you're seeing that people are wanting to talk about and looking to engage with.
Yeah, sure. So on our kickoff day, which is Tuesday, January the 31st, we actually have 4 half-day programs going on, and 3 of them were curated by us, and 1 is a sponsored program being put on by Vision. But those that we curated are covering intelligent infrastructure, sustainability, and we also have a maritime and port focus. So we're excited about those topics. We actually had a maritime and port symposium on our kickoff day in 22 as well. And it was standing room only, and it's amazing to me how hungry people are for
Yeah.
education just across the board. So we're anticipating to have some good attendance that day. And then the next day, we have about 2 hours of our plenary stage in the morning before the expo hall opens. And we'll be hearing from American Eagle, I think everyone knows they've got a pretty great story right now with the acquisition they
Oh
made,
yeah.
and they're doing some really innovative things. We'll be hearing from them. We'll also be hearing from DHL,
Mhm.
who is kind of our top headline sponsor,
Yeah.
actually. They're going to be talking about some of the innovation in the areas around what they're doing with Unilever, which should be a really nice conversation. And then we're also going to hear from Ramona Hood, who is the president of FedEx Custom Critical. She is an amazing woman. She rose up from a secretary at FedEx to be in this very powerful position. She's got a great story. And I think some of the things that FedEx does, the audience will be interested in hearing about this year. So that's our first day. And then in the afternoon, we go into, gosh, there's 4 tracks of sessions going on throughout both afternoons. Some of the topics that we're covering mostly, and I was just looking the other day, kind of categorizing, because we don't have tracks by category really. It's just we've got so many sessions covering so many different topics, but they do have themes. And the themes that we saw the most of in our sessions were supply chain resiliency, shipping and last mile, warehousing and automation, of
Yeah, I
course,
like that.
robotics and automation. Yeah, yeah. Sustainability, globalization and
Mhm.
partnerships. Those are really the top areas that we'll be talking about at the show. And then on the show floor, we'll have more than 200 vendors
Nice.
at the event this year. So almost double the amount we had last year. And the ones that I specifically want to mention, who are involved in wet warehousing, a number of our headline sponsors and our gold sponsors, Six River, Dexterity, Exotech, Mugen, Adverb, Caja Robotics, Locus Robotics, Siemens, and Swisslog. So there's going to be a lot of activity there around warehousing.
Yeah, nice.
It's obviously a big topic between the 4 walls. So I'm thinking there will be a lot for your audience to absorb if they were to come to Manifest. And we certainly hope some people will check us out and consider it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it sounds like there's going to be a lot to look at there and a lot to listen to as well. I mean, I was looking at some of the speaking topics myself and the different tracks, and there's just so many interesting ones. I'm like, oh man, like which way do I go? How am I going to decide which one to do? There's so many good ones. Yeah.
I know, I know. I think it's tough too. Sometimes to choose what you're going to go to, but obviously depending on what your interest level is, we try not to overlap things that are, could potentially be of interest to the same people, but
Yeah,
it's
yeah. I think when
impossible
you're in supply
sometimes.
chain, you have many interests because there's so many different parts of it going on. Yeah,
I know
yeah,
it's a
absolutely.
very broad industry.
So it
Yeah,
sounds like it's going to be
absolutely.
a really great event, and definitely excited to be attending and being doing some coverage there as well this year. So Courtney, I want to thank you so much for joining me today on the show and talking to us about Manifest. If people are interested in attending and getting there, why don't you give us kind of all the details, the when and where and how?
Yeah, so we're January 31st through February 2nd. We are taking place at the Caesars Forum in Las Vegas. Our website it's kind of unusual, but it's Manifest, MANIFES.T is where you can find us. And Kevin, you have a
Yes.
special discount link that you can provide to your listeners, I should say.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll definitely make that discount available to our audience. And you guys can check it out at thenewwarehouse.com or look for it on LinkedIn or wherever you find the new warehouse, it'll be there and available for you guys. I mean, this is a great opportunity to learn more about the industry and also do some great networking as well. Based on what the curated audience, as Courtney was mentioning earlier, is. So it's a great place to be and a great place to connect with some thought leaders in the industry as well. So Courtney, thank you so much for including the new warehouse in Manifest this year, and happy to have you on to give some more exposure to the event and let our audience know all about the event as well. So thank you very much for joining us today.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me, and we're excited to partner with you yet this year.